that one. Let's see if it'll catch it. How many squares? So, good morning. I have spent the last 15 minutes attempting to get online using my visualizer on Zoom, and it hasn't worked. So, as per usual, I'm getting on here. That's my backup that I do. So I'm just going to share. So today we're doing how many squares. This is aimed at we're going to do an activity for 4, 5, 6-year-olds that will just be a bunch of dots. So if you want to get ready, if you've got any 4, 5, 6-year-olds, just make a sheet with a bunch of dots or get some square paper, either one. That'll be an activity for the younger children, and then we're going to do some activities for older ones. Now, I'm just looking for, so my plan was to get on at 1:45, get all the links put in place, and yeah, let me see, square it game, that's not it. How many squares? Oh dear, where's the link to the how many squares game? How many squares game is how many squares game. I'm going to put that one on here right now so that you can, so you've got the link to everything on here. I'm going to put on a link, share a link where you can put everything on. How many squares? And this is on the Aiming High website. So anytime you want to play this game or find similar games that are lots of fun to play, and you can have the whole family playing. So if you're there and you've got an older sibling or a younger sibling, you can play together. And the younger ones, as I say, get that ready, get a sheet of paper like that ready, so that they can the squares can be smaller. This is another example. Can be that sort of size. Just get lots of dots and some colouring pens, and they can have at it just playing with shapes. And go for squares, but with the 4, 5, 6, 4 or 5-year-olds, you don't know what shape they're going to come up with, and that's fine. You just have a conversation about the shapes, get them to colour it in, just get them engaged in the activity. Right, so it takes me longer to share when I'm chattering on at the same time. Is this it? Is this it? This is it. So as I say, my objective right now is to give you that one link so that you can see the resource, and I'll give you other links in a minute, and the other links will be to the YouTube channels. We've got 2 YouTube channels. One is Bubbly Maths YouTube channel, where we share all these lives. Eventually, it's a process. Share in a group, share to a page, share in a group, share in a group. We're sharing in a group, and that group is Making Maths Fun for Kids of All Ages. So it is a group that's dedicated to family learning, home learning, and so it's group learning at home, so it's not in a school environment, although schools can absolutely join in and take advantage of finding the squares. How many squares? Take advantage of, God, can't do 2 things at once. My brain will kick in any second now. Take advantage of the activities, and they are low threshold, high ceilings, so everyone can get involved. So all of you young people there right now we're going to start in just a moment. We're going to start playing the game. I'm going to play it with you, because this is a game that we can play from a distance, and as soon as I've just finished, you guys are probably, maybe one of you could offer to help me share these things. Could having someone somewhere on the other side of the world helping me go live and sharing with all the groups and pages, so that I can just get on with the activity. Share, we've got share now, share, just like share, right? Share. I'm sharing it on my profile, on my own profile, and I click share and nothing happens. How many squares? And then what I like to do, although I'm not fully understanding it yet, is a watch party. So watch party seems to be where I get most conversations going, and I really love those conversations. Please do comment. Now I'm finding that, got that there. Did I put the link on? I don't know, but I've definitely got the links on the Bubbly Maths, the main Bubbly Maths, and I've got the links on the Making Maths Fun group. So one last thing. Facebook, nearly ready to start. We're nearly ready to start. So if you've got any Litlies, get them ready with a piece of paper like this. The link is below for the page where you can print out pages like this, whoopsie, like this, and like this, as well as the activity itself. And then we're going to get started any second now, if I can find this. And just, if I like to have a watch party if I can, seem to reach more people, and the idea is to reach more people, right? Whoops, I see what I want and then it disappears. It just goes bloop and it's gone. No, I don't want to share as Bubbly Maths. I want to share as me, because I'm me. I am me. I'm Caroline, by the way, if you didn't know. And now it might give me a chance to share in a group watch together. No. Oh, here we go. Watch together. Start. Is this it? Just there. How many squares? Quite repetitious, really. How many squares? I'm writing squares with a W. Can somebody please explain that to me? Mind you, English is a mysterious language anyway. How many squares? Start. And we might be just about ready to start now. Ready to start, ready, steady. Oh, here we go. I've got a watch party going there. I'm going to put the resource in there, and now everyone can hopefully find the link, so I can watch that on here and watch that on there. So we're going to start with, hello everyone. We're going to find squares today. It's all about finding squares, and there's some good games. So we're going to play some games that we're going to start the first one with. It's gone now. I've shown it to you. Oh, here we go. If you make a grid like this, if you've got any 3, 4, 5-year-olds, make a grid like this, or make them smaller. They can be that sort of size as well. Or just use square paper and get them to get out the colouring pens and find the squares. Join the lines together, join the dots together to find squares. Different shaped squares, different colour squares, make patterns, make art, finding squares. So on this one now my visualizer isn't working because I couldn't get the Zoom and Facebook to work together. I'm very happy to hear the announcement yesterday from Facebook that they're now going to allow lives like this on Facebook with lots of people watching. Hi Russell, hi Johnny. And so with that, I can not have to use Zoom anymore. So I'll be hopefully, I haven't figured out how yet, but I want to be able to use my visualizer on Facebook. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe I could just do it on my computer already. Not a clue. I'll find out. Here we go. Now, yeah, this is not as easy. I was going to say it's as easy as it looks. You can't see how. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Let me see. The thing is, I've got to bend it forward without keeping the centre of gravity just right so that the phone doesn't go off. And I can't actually see what you can see because... Is that at the top? Ah, okay, that's at the bottom of the screen. So move that further back so that that's at the top of the screen. Ah, is that better? Yeah, that's better. A bit better anyway. Move that further back. Back still. That's much better. Right, so you can use this for the Litlies. And then it can be big dots, or you can have little dots like this, and they can just have at it. Find squares. So there is a square. There is an orange square. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. And if an older person at home, an older learner, wants to play with a younger learner, you can do it together and just talk about the squares. And once they know, if they didn't already know what a square is, It's not about correcting, it's about reinforcing. So if they're not clear what a square is, the language isn't, no, that's not a square. The language is, that's a great effort. I really like what you've done. And then you draw another square and go, the square has 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So you're not saying that's wrong, you're just reinforcing what a square is. It's like if they use the wrong tense or the wrong he or she, you don't have to say, no, that's not a he, that's a she, because clearly if they use it saying she instead of he, they haven't quite got it yet. And so correcting them, they won't understand why you're correcting them. So the same way with squares, you just reinforce it. So if it's a he, you say, yes, he is looking really good today, or he is happy today, when if they use the wrong gender or the wrong colour or something, it doesn't matter, or the wrong tense, or draw a square wrong. It's not a matter of saying that's not a square, just reinforce it, draw another one. Yeah, I really like that one you made. Let's make another square. 1, 2, 3, 4 edges on the square. Right, that's for the little. So just have at it. Go crazy. Make art using squares. Now, our challenge for today is here. Our first thing we're going to do is find the squares. So I would like you, if you haven't had a chance to print out this piece of paper, please go ahead and draw 9 dots. So I'm going to do it here so I can do it at the same speed as you, and that way we can do it together. I'm going to draw 9 dots on a piece of paper. 9 dots. I've got my nice. Can you see that? Is that in the right place for you? I'll do it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now this, everybody that isn't 5 or below can do this, because the idea behind this is to learn how to play the game. So everybody draw 9 dots. Well, hey, we've got 9 dots. Right, you might have got to go off and get a piece of paper, you'll be able to catch up. So, somebody show me our first square. Where can we see a square? Let's see, well, I've got one here. Just going to have a look. There's one. Found one square. Just hello. Oh, we've got, hello Barbara, how are you? And I'm just going to have a look here. I don't see any comments here. That's good, that's fine. It's all good. Let's see if we've got any comments over here. Say hello to... And I don't know where we are on this group. It seems to take a long time to come onto the group, which is a bit worrying. Or maybe it's my computer that's slow. Okay, have you got it? Have you all got that? Have you all got a piece of paper? So I found one square. So I'm going to draw another one, not because it's a secret, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I'm going to draw another one. What square do you think I'm drawing? I found another square. Now, there's more than one square that's this size. How many squares are there of this size? Okay, I'm going to draw out all the squares that are this size. That's 1, 2, 3. I can find 4. I can find one that's the blue one, and that's it, right? So it's 1, 2. So we're going to make a little chart, and so we're going to, in the 3 by 3, we've got. Actually, let's start with a 2 by 2. If we had a 2 by 2, let's be systematic. Let's be nice and mathematical and systematic about it. If we had a 2 by 2, that's 1, 2, whoops, 1, 2, 2, and 2. Hello. How many squares have we got in that? 1, 2 dots, 1, 2 dots. Not a 2 by 2 squares, but 2 by 2 dots. How many squares have we got in there? Well, there's a square there. Any other squares? No, so let's draw a square there, and that's we only have the one. So we have a total of 1 square in the 2 by 2. Now in the 3 by 3, we've got of these little ones that are 2 by 2 dots, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So of these, I'm going to write that we've got one of that. We've got two, not two, 4. Oh, it's quite hard to. Oh no, my 4 was going to be upside down there. 4. We've got 4 of the 2 by 2 dots. And then what else have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 3 by 3 dot square. And we've got, that's one of those. And that's it, right? So we've got 4 and 5 squares, right? That's it. Is it? I'm just going to turn this around a little bit. Can you see another square? Let's see if we can find it more easily. Going to draw, let me see, we've got 2 there, 2 there, 2 and those 2 and those 2. Now that is a square, and if we're not 100% sure, we can get a ruler and actually check it. If I join there to there, it's a square. You could get a set square to check it as well. There to that. Now my dots aren't exactly right, by the way. So my dots aren't. My dots were all in. If I did it on here, you'd see it much more clearly. So let's do it on there. There to there. You see it? That is, go from the center of there, goes to the center of there, the center of there to there to there. That is a right angle. And over here, it's harder to do. Get my ruler in. That is a square. So that is another square. So that is a tilted square. It is still a square. This ruler is a ruler, whether it's that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. It doesn't matter which way we tilt it or rotate it. It's a tilted square. It's still a square. It's absolutely a square. So we've found another square, which is a tilted square, which has 1 dot on each vertex. And how many of those have we got? Can we find any more of those on this 3 by 3 dot matrix? We think not. And indeed, the 3 by 3 has a total of 6 squares. Now, this is where I kind of stop talking so much and you have a go. Find all the squares on a 4 by 4. So what does a 4 by 4 look like? I'm going to hide this one. 4 by 4 looks like this. Now, there's several ways of doing it. You can either find them all on one. I'm just hiding this because I drew something on here last night. So I'm wasting not, wanting not, waste not, want not my paper. So you can find all the squares. Let me see. First of all, if we can use our initial chart to help us. So we've got a clue about what kind of squares there are, and there's a progression. And when we're doing maths, we want to be systematic and look for patterns. So we can see quite clearly that we've got these little ones. How many of those have we got? How many of those little ones have we got? Have I managed to find them all? Are there any other options there? So you can do it all on one. So on that one we've got, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So of the single square little dots, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 9 of those. So we've got 9. So whoopsie, you don't want that colour. It's not so clear to see. Got 9. Right. What else have we got? How many of these single, like 4 dot tilted squares can you find? How many of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's 8 dots on that. How many of the 8 dot, what I've got as a blue square, can you find on here? I'm going to look for those. I'm going to let you look for the tilted ones. I'm going to look for these. Let's go on. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. And there's one there. I'm pretty satisfied that I found them all. So I think that there are 4 of these. What have you found? How many of these tilted squares have you found? I'm going to draw it on here so that you can... And what else could we possibly have on here? I'm not going to find them all. There is one really obvious one. It's one super obvious one. Yeah, it's the big one on the outside. Let's make that. Should we make that one red in this case? Boom, 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 boom. So let's put that. I don't know if there's any others. I'm not going to assume there aren't any others. I'm going to leave space for more. But then actually we might need to go the other way on this because we're going to do a 5 by 5 next. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's got 12 dots. So that's on the outside. So there's one of those. What other kinds of squares can you find there? Can you spot any more? Any other tilted dots? I haven't drawn in these little, I'll draw one of them in. The little single tilted dots, there's one there. Are there any, is there any other kind of tilted dot? I'm going to get a different colour. Go with purple. And what do you think of this? So we've gone 1 across and 2 up. 1, in this case, 1 down, 2 across. 1 across, 2 down. 1 up, 2 across. And it's still a square. It is a regular rectangle with every angle is 90 degrees. Every angle is a right angle. It's still a square. So we have found another. That's not to scale. But if you wanted to, let's see, how would we do that? You could put those dots, whoopsie. You could put those dots in, the other dots in to indicate what kind of dot you have. Whereas this one is oopsie, get it right. That's it. All the dots inside it crosses lines, but those are all the dots. So you can use that as a way to indicate the size of it. Because those lines don't cross any other dots. And so you could see it as just that, but it isn't. And also the angle is different. The amount of tilt is different with respect to the squares that are just part of the main grid, the obvious squares that are 90 degrees to the main line of the grid. Okay, so that we haven't found, don't know how many, so that's question mark. How many? I haven't said how many there are of those. I haven't said how many there are of those. And that one, and then the next one is, so please continue doing that, and please put pictures on the group of what you've done. I'm probably doing this wrong. Have I got that? Is that the wrong way round? I think that might be the wrong way round. There we go. So you'll have to forgive me on that. And how many are there of these? How many are there of these? So again, your 5 by 5s. You can draw them if you don't have a printer. That's okay. A lot of people don't have a printer at home. Just draw out the dots. Now, don't do like me where I did this one and it's all, I did it on there and the dots are everywhere, so you can't actually check about the right angles. It makes it harder. In this case, use a ruler. Quite often I say, oh, just ad lib, don't worry about it. But if you actually use a ruler in this case, it will help you make sure it's parallel to the edge of the paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go parallel to the edge of the paper. Make sure it's nice and parallel so that our otherwise it can be misleading. Our squares can go a bit skew if. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we only go up to 4 because we start at 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we only go from 0. If you want to actually use the numbers to save confusion, you can start on 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that might be a good idea. And then we're going to go across there. Make sure, if you go this way, it's quite easy because you can see if it's parallel to the paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure it's parallel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure it's parallel. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more time. Make sure it's parallel. Whoopsie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can double check. Well, that looks pretty regular. So you can do that if you don't have a printer. If you have a printer, just go ahead. And have I got anything that I don't want you to see here? No. Just go ahead and print out the sheet and you can work on here. So, and now you might have to, this one would probably have been better to go across this way because you're going to need more. You've got at least one more that's obvious, and what else do you think? How many of those will you have? There's going to be the one on the outside, and then you find out how many other tilted squares there are and what different angles there are. So please post your results, and I will put the results on, I think, tomorrow night. No, tomorrow morning, yeah? Do you want tomorrow morning? Okay, I'll post today's results on what that is tomorrow morning. So you have a go, see if you can find it, because we haven't found, that's a question mark, that's a question mark. And then all of the results of 5 by 5, and then go bigger. Now, the good thing about this as well is you might start to see a pattern. You might start to be able to predict how many of each square there are in a 6 by 6, because mathematicians, when they get to when they're, you know, and you will do this depending where you are in your educational career, but there are things that you need to find. They use the term n, which means any number, which means what we can predict what will happen if we have 1,000,000 dots. It's a million by 1,000,000 dots. And we can predict what's going to happen because we've spotted the pattern. So we'll be able to tell you what will happen no matter how big the dot matrix is. And so that's the thing that mathematicians do. Now, just going to let you know, this is one of the big questions. Big. Whoops, I'm going to talk to you now. Hello, Robert. We're all tilted now. Oh, boy. Boy. I've got some great equipment here, but it doesn't always succeed in going live. And I still haven't found the live on the group. That is really frustrating. People looking for, I'll have to put a note on the group. If you can't find the live, go to the page, I think, because it's doesn't always work. Oh well. We do the best we can. So I'll share this on the I don't know why it's not there. So why do it? Why is this actually worth doing? Why is it relevant? Well, it's fun. It's a way of making maths fun so that you can actually enjoy doing maths. And enjoying doing maths is, if you enjoy it, then, you know, why not? Why not enjoy everything you have to do in life? Why? Okay, you don't have to enjoy everything you have to do in life, but why hate something or struggle with something when you can enjoy it? So I don't mean to say it's easy. Solving maths problems can be a big struggle. Even, well, you know what? The best mathematicians in the world keep solving problems until they find one they can't solve. And it's only when they find one they can't solve that they really are able to get their teeth into it. Now, what do you think about that? If a mathematician can do something super easily, they don't actually get enjoyment out of it. It isn't a challenge. They're not growing from it. So some of the most, well, I'm going to use the word intelligent, but these people have become, hi Alina, the high level mathematicians have become super intelligent because they've trained their brain, because they have got engaged in the process, they've got engaged in, I'm not going to show you that one, they've got engaged in doing things systematically and working things out and going, well, what if? And oh, well, what if? And what if? And what if? And what if we use a 6 by 6? And what if we use a 10 by 10? And what if instead of 2 dimensions we thought in 3 dimensions? So what if? And those are the exciting, interesting conversations. And that grows your intelligence, literally increases your intelligence. The more you stretch from where you are now, the more you are able to stretch further. So in order to stretch to be this clever, you have to start by stretching a little bit and then stretching a bit more and stretching a bit more. You can't, like if I take a balloon and I want to stretch it, I can only stretch it so far. I'm not going to move my hands. I can only stretch it so far at first. But if I stretch it many times and make it more flexible, I'm stretching, giving it some exercise. Each time I stretch it more and more and more and more. Oh my goodness. Now I can stretch it that far. Whereas to start off with, I could only stretch it that far, but made it softer and I made it warmer. I warmed it up like when you do exercises. If you want to do the splits, you can't just do the splits straight away. You start by doing a little bit and then just stretching until finally, whoop, you can do the splits. You can. I don't know if there is anybody that, there might be some people that have a physiological reason why they can't. Some people can just do the splits. I'm not one of them. In order to get to the splits, I have to spend weeks stretching and going further and further down. But we can do it, and we do it by stretching our brains. And that is why, the one really pure reason why maths is useful. It's not necessarily that you will use, like for example, this exercise here. Well, when would you do that in real life? Apart from entertaining and helping children and helping people just to have fun, just to do a puzzle with the family. But what you're doing is you're learning visualization. You're solving a problem. You're being systematic. Now, being systematic is super important in solving problems. So if you think, well, we could do this, or we could do that, or we could do the other, or we could do, oh, maybe if we could do that, and have all these ideas that are dotted all over the place. You could put them all on Post-its and splotch them all on the wall, and you've got lots of ideas, a little bit of an idea for a solution for a problem, like I don't know, problems. What's a problem that we've got right now? We've got a problem of how to have a birthday party. Well, might have lots of ideas of how we can do it, but then you've actually got to get to the nitty-gritty and put it all together and build a system and a plan and be systematic in order to make it happen and all come together. And doing maths and practicing maths and stretching yourself, being in the habit of stretching yourself. In Bubbly Maths, we talk about putting on our learning crown, which opens our mind and allows information in, and it allows our mind to stretch. So it kind of gives us that, a learning crown to give us the flexibility to learn. And if we have our learning crown on all the time, our mind is open all the time. Our brain is open. I have a wonderful mathematician called Paul Erdos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name exactly right. He was Hungarian. He used to arrive in people's towns. He used to do a lot of research, and he used to share his ideas with people all over the world. And he was the most prolific. He wrote loads and loads of papers about maths, and he would find an up-and-coming mathematician, and he'd go and he'd work with them, and then they would get published, so to help everybody get published. But he would arrive at someone's house. He didn't have a home. He would arrive at someone's house and say, hello, come pick me up. Or he could knock on the door or call from the airport. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the airport. My brain is open. And he was ready to get down and stretch and learn something new by doing another research paper on another problem that nobody had ever published about and nobody had ever solved before. So that's the joy of doing maths. So thank you for joining. Now, the links. I've put the link down below for these activities, for the how many squares. Now, on the Aiming High website, this is a resource for teachers in Africa, written by AIMSEC. AIMSEC's an organisation that provides professional development for teachers in Africa. So the resources have to be super simple, not super simple, but they have to be resources that the teachers can't, number one, they don't have physical resources. They have to be things they can print out or copy onto a piece of paper. So they have to be simple in that they need to be complex ideas where people at all levels can enter and engage if they're younger or a lower attainment, but they can also stretch those who are ready, who have reached a higher level and are ready to fly a bit further. So it wants to stretch, no matter what area at level you're at, it wants to stretch you, and that's what these activities do. And then we also have, there's the Making Maths Fun for Kids of All Ages Facebook group, where we in theory do the lives every day, but I can't see it today. It hasn't copied onto there, which is a bit frustrating, a bit very frustrating. But I will put the link to this onto there. I'll share it in a minute if it doesn't come on. And there we have the discussions, we have the talks, we have grown-ups coming on that need help with doing maths at home, and then or home learning, and then there are a couple of YouTube channels. There's the Bubbly Maths YouTube channel where we share all these lives. Eventually, we're in the process of putting them on there. And then we have the Maths Toys YouTube channel, which is basically every resource that comes from Aiming High. On the Aiming High webpage, on the website, there's a video, or there will be a video. There are a few videos there already. So they can help teachers, but they can also help home learning. Whether you want to go yourself as a young learner or an adult can go on and get ideas and just get clarity and very clear instructions on what to do and how to do it, and get some help with questions and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed today. I think I've remembered to tell you about everything. I'll put the comments in the links below, the links in the comments below. And you've already got the one for the actual resource, and I'll put the links to the YouTube channels. Now, please do go onto the YouTube channels and subscribe, because we're working, this is all new, this is all happening very recently. And what we need is 100 subscribers on both the Bubbly Maths and the Maths Toys YouTube channels. So it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, by the way, but you do have to have all you need is a Gmail account. If you've got a Gmail account, you've got a YouTube account. And if you subscribe, then once we get to 100, we can actually name our YouTube channel. So we can name the YouTube channel Bubbly Maths. We can name the YouTube channel Maths Toys. So that all you need to do is go to YouTube/channels/Maths Toys, or YouTube/channels/Bubbly Maths. We'll get there soon. We're not there yet. Thank you for joining. Now tonight we're doing preparation for tomorrow's activity, which is another exciting activity based on circles. And you don't need a compass, by the way. It's all things that you've got in the home. If you don't have a compass, you don't need one. And that will do preparation for that tonight. And more conversations tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. We'll be doing the activity with the young learners. There'll be an activity for 4 or 5-year-olds. There'll be an activity for older ones. We'll be using now you finally find out what your toilet rolls are for. That'll be for the younger learners, but learners of all age could also use them, but that'll be specifically for the younger learners. So get your toilet rolls ready for tonight and tomorrow morning. I hope you've been saving them. That's why you bought them, you know. And I'm going to see if I can work out. I've been given an activity to make a shape out of a toilet roll as well. I haven't got my head around it yet, but I'm going to see if I can get my head around it and share it with you. That'll be tonight. No pressure there then. Right, thank you very much, and I'll see you tonight or tomorrow or the next day. We're on 9 o'clock London time in the morning, 8 o'clock London time in the evening, every day, 7 days a week. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.